Look at this. Gray, chalky, dead. This is a wiper cowl that has been cooked by the sun for 5 years, and right now it looks like someone painted it with chalk dust. Now watch. One single wipe of a clear liquid that costs $1. One wipe. And the plastic goes from that embarrassing faded gray mess to a rich, deep, factory black finish that looks like it just rolled off the assembly line. I am not using a ceramic kit. I am not using a $30 trim restorer. I am using a liquid that costs $1, that you can find at any pharmacy, and that the $5 billion auto detailing chemical industry does not want you to know exists. Because the moment you find out what is actually happening inside that faded plastic, you will never buy another bottle of their spray-on garbage again. Welcome to the Buried Blueprint. If you are someone who refuses to get played by overpriced chemical companies, hit subscribe and the bell right now, because every video on this channel is going to save you real money in ways the industry has been quietly suppressing for years. Now, let me show you exactly what just happened to that plastic, because the science behind this is going to completely change the way you look at faded trim forever. Here is what you are actually looking at when plastic goes gray. The black exterior trim on your car, your wiper cowl, your bumper caps, your mirror bases, all of that black plastic is made from petroleum-based polymers, and here is the key word: petroleum-based. Those polymer chains are naturally saturated with oils that give them that deep black color and that flexible, slightly glossy texture you remember from when the car was new. But ultraviolet radiation from the sun is relentless. Over months and years, UV rays break down the surface of that plastic. They oxidize the top layer. They destroy those oil bonds, and they leave behind a crumbling white chalky crust of dead, dried out polymer sitting right on top of the surface. That chalky gray is not a color change. That chalky gray is a graveyard of dead plastic that is sitting on top of the living plastic underneath. And here is what every trim restorer, every ceramic kit, and every silicone spray is doing wrong. They are painting right over that graveyard. They are slapping a layer of silicone or resin on top of the dead crust and calling it restoration. And for about 3 weeks, it looks great. And then the rain comes, or you wash the car, and that thin coating starts to peel away from the dead layer underneath it because it was never attached to the actual living plastic to begin with. So you buy another bottle. And another. That is the business model. But watch closely what happens next, because the two-step process I am about to give you does not coat the plastic from the outside. It resurrects it from the inside out. Step 1 is the stripping phase. You are going to go to any pharmacy, any grocery store, any dollar store, and you are going to buy a bottle of 70% isopropyl rubbing alcohol. Not 67%, not 91% for this step, 70%. The reason will make sense in a moment. You are also going to pick up a bottle of pure mineral oil. You can find it in the laxative aisle, or it is sometimes sold as baby oil, which is just mineral oil with a little fragrance added. Both work perfectly. The total cost for both of these items together is between $1 and $3 depending on where you buy them. That is it. That is the entire formula. Now here is the exact application process. Before you touch a single drop of mineral oil, you must do the stripping step first. This is the step that 90% of people skip, and it is the reason their results are temporary. Take a clean microfiber cloth or even a paper towel, pour a generous amount of the 70% isopropyl alcohol onto it, and scrub the gray plastic firmly. I mean, really work it in. You are going to see the cloth turn gray and brown almost immediately. That is the dead oxidation layer coming off. You are physically dissolving and lifting that white chalk crust away from the surface and exposing the raw, porous, living plastic underneath. Scrub the entire surface until the cloth is no longer picking up significant gray residue. Now step back and let the plastic flash dry completely. Rubbing alcohol evaporates fast, so this only takes about 30 to 60 seconds in normal air temperature. Do not rush this. You want every trace of moisture gone before you move to step 2, because you are about to open those pores and you want the oil to be the first thing that goes in, not residual water or alcohol. Now the second step. Take a fresh, clean microfiber cloth, pour just a few drops of mineral oil onto it, and begin working it into the plastic using firm, circular motions. You do not need a lot. The goal is deep penetration, not surface saturation. You will watch the color shift as you work. The deep black is going to come back almost instantly as the oil fills the pores you just opened with the alcohol. Keep massaging for about 30 to 60 seconds per section. Once the color looks rich and even, take a completely dry section of your cloth and wipe off any excess oil sitting on the surface. You want what is in the plastic, not what is sitting on top of it, and that is it. The entire process takes about 10 minutes for a full set of exterior trim pieces on a standard car. No heat gun, no prep sprays, no cure time, no UV lamps. Just alcohol, mineral oil, and 10 minutes of your hands. But here's the part the auto detailing industry hides. Let me explain why this two-step process works on a molecular level, because understanding this is what will make you immune to their marketing forever. The plastic in your trim is a petroleum-based polymer, meaning it shares a chemical heritage with mineral oil, which is itself a refined petroleum distillate. When you strip the oxidation with the alcohol first, you are opening the micropores of the plastic. And then when you introduce mineral oil, which is chemically compatible with those petroleum-based polymer chains, the oil does not just sit on top of the plastic, it is attracted to it. It penetrates deep into those open pores, and it is absorbed by the polymer matrix. It rehydrates the chains, it restores the flexibility, and it brings back the natural black pigmentation from within the material itself. The color you are seeing is not a coating. It is the actual color of the plastic restored. The mineral oil becomes part of the plastic. That is why it does not wash off in the rain. That is why it does not flake. There is no surface layer to wash away, because there is no surface layer. The chemistry that the $5 billion detailing industry does not want you to understand is that you cannot fix a structural moisture problem with a topical sealant. You fix it by rehydrating the structure itself. And mineral oil does that because it speaks the same chemical language as the plastic. Now let me tell you about the scam, because you need to understand the full picture. The auto detailing chemical industry is enormous. We are talking about a multi-billion-dollar market built almost entirely on products that are engineered not to last. Every major brand selling trim restorers, ceramic trim coatings, UV protectants, and plastic conditioners has the same fundamental business model. Sell you a product with a lifespan of weeks, not years. The silicone-based sprays are the most obvious offenders. You spray them on, the plastic looks great for a week, and then the silicone literally slides off the surface and takes whatever color enhancement it created right along with it. And the new wave of ceramic trim kits is even more insidious because they charge you $20, $30, sometimes $50, and market the product with words like permanent and nanoceramic and industrial-grade polymer bond. And here is the dirty secret inside that language. They are bonding to the dead oxidation layer, not to the plastic. They are gluing their expensive resin to a layer of chalky, degraded polymer that has zero structural integrity, which means that coating, no matter how advanced and no matter how much you paid for it, is only as permanent as the dead layer it is sitting on. And that dead layer keeps degrading. It keeps flaking. And eventually, it takes the ceramic coating right off with it. These companies know this, their chemists know this, but a product that lasts 3 weeks sells 12 bottles a year. A product that lasts 3 years sells nothing. So they keep engineering temporary solutions and dressing them up in laboratory language to justify the price tag. The rubbing alcohol and mineral oil method exposes the entire framework of that lie because it addresses the actual problem. It is not profitable, it cannot be patented. It does not run out fast enough to generate repeat sales, and so the industry simply pretends it does not exist. Before I move on, I need to tell you something important. This trim restoration secret is just one entry in a much larger collection of industry-suppressed knowledge that has been compiled and documented. If you go to the link in the description right now, you are going to find the complete buried blueprint vault, which contains dozens of classified home, survival, and automotive DIY guides that expose the exact same pattern of corporate suppression across dozens of industries. Headlights, rust, mold, rotting wood, energy bills. Industry after industry has buried cheap, permanent solutions to protect their revenue streams. The vault is all of that knowledge in one place. Check the link in the description. But stay right here, because the difference between a result that lasts 3 months and a result that lasts 3 years comes down entirely to a few specific mistakes people make in the application that I have not covered yet, and knowing them will protect your work from failing prematurely. One of the most common mistakes is using 91% or higher isopropyl alcohol for the stripping step instead of 70%. It feels counterintuitive because higher concentration sounds stronger, but the higher alcohol concentrations evaporate so rapidly that they do not have enough contact time with the surface to properly dissolve and lift the oxidation layer. They flash off too fast. 70% alcohol has a slightly slower evaporation rate, which gives it the dwell time it needs to actually do the chemical work on the dead crust. This is a real difference in result. Use 70%. The second mistake is applying mineral oil without doing the alcohol strip first. If you just wipe mineral oil onto faded plastic without stripping the oxidation first, you are doing exactly what the commercial trim restorers do. You are coating the dead layer. It will look great for a week, maybe 2, and then the dead layer will continue to break down underneath the oil and the color will come back gray. The strip has to happen first every single time, And the third mistake is applying too much mineral oil and not wiping the excess. If you leave a heavy surface layer of oil on the plastic, it will attract dust, it will feel greasy, and it will be prone to transferring onto your hands and clothing. Wipe the excess off. The oil that matters is the oil inside the plastic. The oil sitting on the surface is just waste. Now, let me put the numbers next to each other so you can see exactly what the detailing industry has been stealing from you. A single bottle of a major brand ceramic trim coating kit costs between $25 and $50 at your local auto parts store. An entry-level detailing shop will charge you between $80 and $150 to restore the exterior trim on a standard car. And a full exterior detail package with trim correction at a mid-range shop in most American cities runs between $200 and $500. And every single one of those services and products will have you back in that chair or back at that store shelf within months. Compare that to the bottle of 70% isopropyl alcohol that costs under $2. The bottle of mineral oil that costs under $2. A total investment of under $4 for a treatment that, when done correctly, lasts months to over a year, depending on your climate and how much UV exposure your car gets. Not weeks, months to a year. Because you fix the actual problem instead of painting over it. The industry prays you never see this side-by-side comparison. They pray you keep seeing the $30 bottles on the shelf and believing that price means quality. They have spent decades building that belief in your mind through advertising and shelf placement and fake laboratory branding. And none of it is based on chemistry that helps you. All of it is based on chemistry that keeps you paying. Subscribe to this channel right now. Share this video with every car owner you know, because this kind of information dies when it stays in one place. The corporate marketing machine has unlimited budget. We fight it with reach. Every share is one more person who will never be fooled by an overpriced silicone spray again. Hit the like button so the algorithm pushes this information further than they would like it to go. And if you think trim restorers are a scam, wait until you see what they are hiding about your cloudy, yellowed headlights. The chemistry behind that cover-up is even more brazen, the markup is even more criminal, and the fix is sitting in your kitchen right now for less than 50 cents. Subscribe so you do not miss it. The next blueprint opens soon, and what is inside is even heavier.